When we talk about why the greatest player never made it to the top, we're most likely not talking about a lack of talent, but a career riddled with indiscipline. We're talking about Nile Ranger, the English striker who went from being a star at Newcastle United to being a free agent with no club, no prospective signings, and with you not hearing about his name. But what really went wrong? And what can we learn from his story? Before you ask how Nile became the master of his own undoing, gear up, because his story is a real-time percussor of how things can go bad pretty quickly with bad choices. Stay tuned to find out. Nile Ranger was born in London in 1991 and showed his skills in football from a very young age. His father was a nobleman, so it became quite confusing how Nile steered away from having a noble career. Nile joined Crystal Palace's academy when he was 10 and played alongside future stars like Wilfried Zaha and John Bostock. You'd agree he was pretty early, judging by that era. But like a hunter's hound, Nile always displayed his rebellious and troublesome side, and he was kicked out of the club for his bad behaviour at school. He then joined Southampton, but he was later released after he was sentenced to 11 weeks in a young offenders institute for his part in an armed robbery. And mind you, he was only 13 years old. But Ranger didn't give up on his dream of becoming a professional footballer, because, ironically, he somehow knew that's where his bread was going to come from, and not from crime, which he quite enjoyed. Nile joined a semi-professional team called Haringey Borough and impressed enough to earn a trial at Swindon Town. But before he could sign for them, he was scouted by Newcastle United, who offered him a contract in 2008. By this time, Nile was 17 years old, and this was his second chance to prove himself. And he did. He scored 15 goals for the under-18s and 7 for the reserves in his first season, and won the Ward Jackie Milburn Trophy for the best young player at the club. He made his first team debut in August 2009 and helped Newcastle win the championship and return to the Premier League. His manager Chris Hughton and his teammates praised him and were hyped about his bright future. His form saw him get an invite to the England's under-19 team, where he scored 6 goals in 11 games. However, things started going downhill for Ranger from here. He struggled to establish himself in the Premier League and was loaned out to Barnsley and Sheffield Wednesday in the lower divisions. He also got into trouble off the pitch, as he was arrested several times for various offences, such as assault, criminal damage, and drink driving. He also angered the Newcastle fans by posting a picture of his name spelled out in £20 notes on Instagram and criticised them for booing the team after a defeat. Nile eventually left Newcastle by mutual consent in 2013 after scoring only 2 goals in 51 games. Rangers joined Swindon Town, where he scored 8 goals in 23 games. But he also had more disciplinary issues, such as missing training, breaking curfew, and being charged with rape. He was cleared of the rape charge in 2014, but he left Swindon by mutual consent later that year. He then joined Blackpool, where he scored 2 goals in 14 games, but not without minor and major problems, such as being fined for breaching his bail conditions and being suspended by the club for posting a homophobic tweet, which included putting up his middle finger in a picture he posted online. He was also involved in a fight outside a nightclub. He left Blackpool by mutual consent in 2016 after they were relegated to League Two. Well, you could say this was becoming quite a theme. He later joined Southend United, where he scored 10 goals in 45 games, which was not too bad, but the controversies just seemed to always find him, as he was charged with fraud and money laundering and jailed for 8 months, where he was also fitted with an electronic tag. He left Southend by mutual consent in 2018 after they terminated his contract. I mean, mutual consent seems like the only way to get him to leave a club. After going on and off the pitch with no steady plays for a few months, Nile Rangers joined Spalding United. In this non-league club, he scored 1 goal in 1 game, but he also had more troubles, such as being banned from driving for 3 years and being arrested for conspiracy to commit burglary. After the team cancelled his contract, he left Spalding by his 4th mutual consent in a row in 2021. Niall then rejoined Southend United, but he only played 1 game, and again left by another mutual consent in 2021 after they were relegated to the National League. He still had 1 move to make before he called it quit. He joined Boreham Wood, another non-league club, but he didn't play any games. And he left in 2022 after they released him for several issues of indiscipline and misbehaviour, as expected. Nile Ranger has had a long history of legal issues, both on and off the pitch. As it were, it seemed being sentenced in 2007 at the age of 15 wasn't enough. So, in 2011, he was arrested for assaulting 2 police officers outside a Newcastle casino, but the charges were later dropped. In 2017, he was jailed for 8 months after admitting to online banking fraud, where he transferred over £2,000 from a woman's account to another in 2015. And to cap it all up, in 2018, he was banned from driving for 3 years after admitting to drink driving. These are just some of the legal issues that Nile Ranger has faced in his career, which have affected his reputation, performance, and opportunities as a footballer. And that's where he is today. Nile Ranger is 32 years old and has no club, contract, or future in football. He has wasted his talent, his potential, and his opportunities. He has let down his clubs and his fans and made a teddy bear of his career. He has been in and out of jail, in and out of court, and in and out of form. Nile Ranger knew he had a dream, but he turned it into a nightmare. He had a chance to be one of the best, but became one of the worst. He even had a chance to be a hero, but became a villain. He had a chance to be a legend, but it became a cautionary tale. Niall's career has been plagued by legal and disciplinary issues, which have prevented him from fulfilling his potential as a striker. In an interview, he once said he is treated like the Bin Laden of football, and that's nobody's fault but his. Nile Ranger is currently a free agent, meaning he has no club and no contract. He is currently in a very difficult situation and has not played professional football since 2021. Several clubs have released him due to his legal and disciplinary issues, which have overshadowed his talent and potential as a striker. However, Nile Ranger has also shown signs of remorse and redemption as he tried to rebuild his career and life. He has expressed regret for his mistakes and the people he has hurt, and sought help from mentors and counsellors. He has also claimed that he has reflected on his actions and learned from them. He has also attempted to return to football by signing for lower league or non-league teams, such as Spalding United, Southend United, and Boreham Wood. Still, he has been unable to make a lasting impact or stay out of trouble. One of his most recent endeavours was to open a football club where he teaches younger players how to avoid his kind of criminal life. Here, he has become a mentor and a coach for the club, and he shares his experiences and his advice with the next generation of footballers. He hopes to inspire them to follow their dreams and stay away from the street's temptations and dangers. He wants to use his story as a cautionary tale and a positive example, and give back to the community he once harmed. Nile Ranger's story is tragic and complex, full of highs and lows, hopes and regrets, talent and waste. Thank you for watching this episode. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories and players in the beautiful game. And don't forget to leave a comment below telling us what you think of Nile Ranger and who you would want us to talk about next. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay positive. See you next time. Any last words, GOF?
Like and subscribe.